Hi all, this is Kate, and this is the little Tier 6 AMX 12T, the French auto-loading light tank. I love this little tank, and in fact, I love the entire French line. Yes, it's received a nerf, but in terms of the AMX 12T, you can't feel it. I mean, an extra second on the reload. It's neither here or there. Realistically, you shouldn't be in a position to be shot when you're on a reload anyway. But I do think, played correctly, these things are ridiculously strong, and they are very, very good. But more than that, I love light tank playstyle, and I really love auto-loading light tank playstyle. So let's do the garage part very quickly and then get on with some gameplay. We've got the engine boost, that's a must on these, and then run the 2 repair kits. I never bother with a fire extinguisher because it's in the multi-restoration repair kit anyway. And I think it's a waste of a consumable when you could more than likely need it on something else. In terms of provisions, I run the hot coffee, the canned pate, and the improved fuel. And the next one is very, very, very important. Ammunition. Do not run 6 HE like I am on the screen right now. I'm an idiot, I shouldn't have ever done that. Realistically, what you should be doing is having 0 HE and then having 24 AP and 6 APCR. Alternatively, carry a maximum of 3. But the best recommendation I could make is put the AP in its place. You could run the APCR, but it's only personal preference. I'd rather the AP for the extra damage. Now, equipment. I have run my AMX on just one bit of equipment. Not because I wanted to, but because I forgot to equip it. I know. But all the games you will see is just improved ventilation. There is no other equipment on this tank. If I was going to fit more, I'd fit the defense system. Obviously, coated optics is an absolute must on this thing. I would then go with the gun laying drive. I would then go with improved assembly for that little bit of extra hit points. And then engine accelerator. On top of that, if you're going to go further, V-stabs, well, it's a must, I think, on this. And then enhanced tracks. And I still stand by the fact that I think the very, very last equipment slot is a big old waste of consumable spare parts. Yeah, genuinely, I went to go record the garage bit on this and I went, well, where's my equipment? Rather awkward. Anyway, before we get into the actual gameplay, I want to show you this, because I think this is ridiculously important and it's funny. But, whenever you see a light tank autoloader, and they've got their first shot off, they will hang around waiting to get all their shots off, regardless what's firing at them. And that will get you killed very, very quickly. And there's a perfect example of it here. Granted, this is a bit more dramatic than you'd usually have, but usually if you come up here, you're going to get your first shot off. As soon as I'm spotted, what you should do is go straight back into cover. But I wait to get my second shot, and I pay the price. I was going to write ouch, but I just... wow. That's right. Allow me to screw up, so you don't have to. Yeah, it's not usually that dramatic, and the thing I do like about autoloaders is if you come up against something which does... a tier 6, for example. If I came up against a Cromwell, I would happily trade 160 of my health for my entire clip into him, especially if I know it's going to finish him off. But when there's things pointing at you and you don't know what's pointing at you, or there's big guns unspotted, don't risk it. Just get your shot off and then run away as quick as you can. And this is part of the reason I like the French light line so much. I really enjoy the playstyle of it. I don't play it passively, I play it very aggressively. You can see I've come straight up to the bush to spot and to cap. I've spotted them, I haven't shot because I wanted to cap first, and as long as I didn't cap, I wouldn't get spotted. And I've highlighted this game because it's not about the damage. Trust me, it's really not. This is going to be the strangest mastery you've ever seen. But it's really not about damage in any shape or form. I could have shot then, I could have done 160 damage, but I wouldn't have capped the base. But I didn't get spotted because I was in the bush and because I didn't shoot. And on top of that, I lit up all of those targets. People say you can't have proper light tank gameplay in Blitz. I've said it myself in the past, but I was quite wrong because you can do it quite well. It gets a little bit more difficult at higher tiers where everybody starts to get better view ranges, but in this circumstance, lower tiers where the people don't have as much view range, I'm talking like say tier 5 up to tier 8, yeah, you can light tank, and you can light tank properly, you can spot, you can use the bushes to your advantage correctly, and that's exactly what I've done here to cap 2 bases without being spotted until I had the business I needed to do done. And that was the beauty of it. We lit up all those targets over by C. We didn't get spotted because we were behind the bush, and more importantly, we did not shoot back. And I do find this amusing because every single cap point we've got so far on our team is from us. And on top of that, we've got a shed ton of spotting damage. And I got very lucky there. I got splashed with HE. But the HE hit my track, I think, which means it didn't penetrate, thankfully. And, well, I managed to survive just about. But yeah, doing high damage is really good fun. But with the limited ammo capacity of the French lights, it's not all about the damage. You can do so much more for your team than just damage. Yeah, I get the fact there's bad teams out there sometimes, and I get the fact that you need to really dish out the damage to carry your pants off, because otherwise you're going to lose. But that's not strictly true. You can spot early for your team. You can push very, very aggressively for your team to spot without shooting to light them up, so people know where to go. A lot of people will tell you it's just about the damage. If you did really, really good damage, you carried your pants off, you did everything you could, and your team was useless, blah, 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 blah. It's not just about that. I mean, here's a nice another example of the bush. He's looking in our direction, but we have not been spotted because the bush is not transparent. When we pulled forward, however, we got spotted by a KV-2. Now, I'm on a reload, and I have no health, so I have no intention of hanging round to get shot by that KV-2. On top of that, we've collected and amassed a huge amount of supremacy points. We're about to win on supremacy points anyway, so we're at a stage where we've won. I wanted to come out and try and get a couple more quick shots into the back of the KV-2, but we won on the hit points. On supremacy points. But, I mean, have a look at this. You ready? 1,316 damage, and we have a mastery. And the reason is the amount of supremacy points we captured and 1,600 spotting damage. There you go, we had 702 supremacy points. That last game, we did have a very good, competent team with us as well. Which, again, it doesn't matter if you have a competent team or a poor team. If you're making a point of going up and spotting, using your light tank abilities without shooting back, there's a good chance you're not going to get spotted. I'm trying to do exactly the same thing here. I'm trying to spot down this side of the map. And I have seen this so many times in battles where you have light tanks camping at the back of the map saying, I'm not pushing forward, I have no armor. It's like, yes, but you have the view range, so as long as you don't shoot, you're going to do absolutely fine. I mean, I don't have optics on this tank. So my view range is below average for what most people would be running in their light tanks, yet we can still spot and use the light tank abilities to our advantage. And this is why I think these tanks were nerfed, because they are so good at carrying. I think one thing to consider is I think they potentially have a high skill bar, not in terms of, oh, only unicums can drive them or anything like that, but you need to know how to play them to perform in them, because if you go up with your mediums or your heavies and you just play the whole shot-for-shot game, you're going to get wasted, and you're going to get wasted hard. Well, look at the example in the first clip. The best description for these tanks is they have a challenging playstyle, and I really, really enjoy that challenge. It's the fact of it's different to other tanks, like a T-49. I did a T-49 guide on the weekend. Well, it was more of a part 2. But I love that tank because it's got such a unique playstyle. These French lights, yeah, they're exactly the same. You've got fantastic mobility. You've got great punch on that autoloader. And then you run off while you're on a reload. In fact, you'll notice that I've done pretty much the same thing on this map as I did, for anyone who watched it, on the T49 one. I went round the flank, which for some reason a lot of mediums now all go up, which I don't mind because it means you can do the flank trick. But to be honest, just do it the other way anyway. If they don't go up and everybody goes down, come up this part and work your way around the map. And I'll say the same thing I said in that video. You can get abused from your team for it because, well, my hit points are preserved while they've taken a bit of a beating. However, by pushing aggressively, spotting for the team, and then, well, attempting to try and spot for the team, and then relocating, yeah, you've preserved your hit points, but it's not like you're camping. You are making a conscious effort to go out and light up the entire enemy team. For the keen-eyed among us, that guy was stuck. I'm serious. I don't know how he's managed to get stuck there, but he's got stuck there. I didn't know it at the time, though. I glanced at him, he was hiding behind something, and I saw a VK, which I saw as much more of a threat. And check this out. Look at my ammo loadout. I've got no AP left, and this is where my stupidity with the HE comes into it. I would have been in a much stronger position if I had more AP to shoot. However, for some reason, I packed the HE, or just packed too much HE. Genuinely, you'd be surprised how often you can potentially run out of ammo in this tank, in the whole line for that matter. So that one, we didn't do as much spotting as we did in the previous, but we only did 2,309 damage, and we had the mastery for that because we also had 6 kills. And credit to this VK, he was pretty much in the same situation as me. He carried his team, so worthy opponent for that guy. On a very quick side note as well, you'll notice that these clips are prior to the nerf. However, I genuinely don't think that the nerf really is that much of a nerf on this tank. I mean, you're talking 1 second on the reload. And the only other thing they nerfed was the aiming time. So, if you're running a gun lane drive on this, or even better, you get up to the vertical stabilizers, even just a gun lane drive though, you're still going to have a stronger, better aiming time than what I do in these clips right now. Which usually I'd throw a lot. In fact, you'd be surprised how many masteries or replays, things like that, I have recorded and I just don't have time to feature. And I end up throwing away because they're out of date because of updates. And whoa, I completely forgot about that ammo rack. Or that bounce, for that matter. The other thing to consider with these is they only have 50mm of hull armor. The front lower plate is very flat. But all the French light tanks, that upper plate, I'm very surprised how often I managed to, well, bounce a shot off it. Granted, I've never bounced anything like a tank destroyer or high penetration tanks, but I've bounced several light tanks or medium tank guns, and every time it happens you just can't work out how. it's a light tank, it shouldn't bounce anything, but it does. It's quite surprising. Another thing I've been asked about these tanks is when is the best time to do a full reload. To be honest, any time I'm trying to relocate from killing one tank, even if I've got 2 left in and I'm making, say, a 10-second trip to the next tank, I'll reload my clip because you never know, you might just need it because of a bounce or something to that effect. So I'll try and keep my clip full for as long as I can. As you can see from this clip, I'll also try and avoid being shot at all costs, especially from a KV-1S. But all we've done is come straight around his back. Sadly, the teammate has taken the shot instead, which means we just need to reload up and clear him out. Now this is a scenario, just to say, if I had 2 shells left here, before I get down to that AT down by there, I would reload to make sure I had 3, because by the time you get there, you would have been just finished on a reload anyway. Which means even if he was pointing at me right now, I could just whiz straight past him. I'm trying to take his track off. I did damage the first time, I took his track off the second time, but I didn't damage him. And now I'm on a reload, and I do like to try and let the team know as often as I can I'm reloading, just in case someone thinks this is more for me than anyone else. I tell everyone I'm reloading because sometimes I think that people are going, oh, is he not firing because he wants to steal the kill? So I tell people just so they know I'm not hanging around to try and steal kills. I'm actually on a reload. That sounds a tad paranoid, but I don't want people thinking I was on the reload. Oh, well, not on a reload and just not bothering to fire. But we are losing this game, and they are capping B. We are in a 2, make that a 1-on-3 situation. BDR doesn't know where I am, so I can clip him before he even gets close to me. But I was spotted. There is an MT25 on full health over here. So I've got 1 shell left. I know he's there, so I wasn't in a circumstance to allow me to reload my full clip, which is why I didn't. It managed... Well, it gave me enough time to just get 1 shot off and then run away and use the rocks as cover. Now, check this out. There's a KV-1S down by there, and with a clip, I could take him out. So I'm going to push him. However, I don't have a clip of 3 because of my ammo loadout is screwed up. I have 2 APCR shots, and I do set him on fire with the second one. But look, I've got no APCR, I've got 1 AP, but I have 6 HE, which is why I noticed the supremacy points and I am legging it. Because we've won on supremacy points, and I don't have enough ammo now to take out that MT25, purely because I'm an idiot and I took HE in my tank. But that did give me a mastery, a high caliber, and a kolobanovs for 3,120 damage, and I do like to think that was a nice carry comparing the damage. But even as I said at the start, to me it's not just about the damage. We weren't sitting at the back playing ridiculously campy, preserving our hit points. We were at the front right from the start, trying to spot, trying to do damage. But yeah, all in all, guys, I love the AMX 12T. I think it's a fantastically fun tank. I'm loving the AMX 1375. That's a keeper for me. And I've only just unlocked the AMX 1390. And I think I've played about 10 games in that. And I also adore that tank. Hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you for watching. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.